moved here in 1989. It was November, so there was nothing that we could really do with the gardens at that point in time. We began the gardens the following summer. My husband built a vegetable garden into the hillside, and thus really began our gardens. There were trees and shrubs around, but no flowers of any sort, just the shrubs and two hostas on the either side of the front porch, which, since I love flowers, that was just not going to cut it. Initially, I dug into the woods so that I could have some perennials and just a couple of flowers. Then my husband added some flower beds to the side of the house, and then year by year we just added different things to the yard to improve upon the landscape. I was the designer and he executed the different things for me. He brought in a lot of land and stone, and he made different raised beds, and he also replaced landscape timbers and things that were here initially. In 1996 there wasn't anything here in the backyard, which is where we are right now, except for a play structure which had a swing and stuff on it, and then there was a tower which had a sandbox and a sliding board on it. Other than that, there really wasn't anything in 1996. Our real development of the yard began in the year 2000, when we added different things to add interest to the yard. For instance, we put in a swing, and we added an arbor, benches, bird feeders, bird baths, that type of thing, since I love birds and I wanted to be able to incorporate them into the yard and attract them also. I try to plan so that things are blooming in succession. For instance, what is blooming today may be done tomorrow, and then something else will come in that will take its place. And so there's always something really nice to look at. There's things of interest in the longwoods bed. The pine bed is in full bloom right now, so there's lots of lilies, Asiatics, as well as other types of lilies and plants that are blooming that look really pretty. There's a vegetable garden behind me where the ash trees are. That's continually changing. There's daylilies throughout the yard, and since they're just starting to bloom right now, there will be just so much color. It's kind of like the 4th of July, because there's always something that's new and different, and to me it's really something very exciting. In the front there's a couple beds that have fountains in them. That's another thing we tried to incorporate when we planned the gardens, just so that there's something that will attract wildlife and nature and look pretty and be functional too. And the other thing that we did put around the yard, just to kind of add interest, and when I go different places I pick up different pieces of yard art. There's little trolls and gnomes and different kinds of things, which is kind of a flashback to my childhood with reading stories and such. And it adds a little bit of interest, and people kind of delight in just finding, something hiding under a bush or a daylily. And I've got lots of copper butterflies and things that you can look at. And in fact, I've had people go, when they look at a picture, they've gone, "Is that real?" And I say, "No, that's just one of those that you shove in the ground." And they go, "Really?" But it's always of interest, and it's always fun, and it kind of draws people into the yard too. My parents and grandparents used to garden. In fact, some of the plants that are in this yard, which remind me of them, actually are like descendants of their plants. The peonies that are around the garden I brought here from my mother's yard, and I have some hostas like my grandmother used to have that actually originated from her yard. So there's kind of homey touches, or whatever you want to say, that make me feel good about gardening that way too. I like to share things with people, and gardening allows me to do that. Because I am a master gardener, I have different knowledge that sometimes I can help people out. They'll ask me about if I know what to do about one thing or the other, and hopefully most of the time I can help them. I have lots of friends that come, and I've made lots of friends through gardening, which is very important. Gardening is also very important to me because it's good mental and physical therapy. I get to be creative, I get to combine texture and color with different things, and just to plan and execute things. It's good physical therapy for me because in 1986 I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and for the longest time you really couldn't even tell that there was anything wrong with me. Then about the year 2003 my health started to really deteriorate, and you could really tell that there was something wrong with me, and by 2004 I was starting to lose my mobility. I was first diagnosed with osteoarthritis in September of 2006. The knuckles on my right hand were 3 to 4 times their normal size, and which really scared me because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to garden and to do things like pruning. When I get out in the garden, I completely forget about everything, and I don't at all feel handicapped, which would be an easy thing to do otherwise. I bend and I stretch and I move my hands, and it changes my whole attitude. I have a real positive attitude. I forget about anything that might bring me down or make me depressed. It's just a wonderful feeling. If you have a positive attitude and you have a dream, then you feel like you can do anything. And you don't feel handicapped, you feel like you're in control of the world, you have a feeling of self-worth, and that's what gardening does for me. It just makes me totally feel like I'm alive and a very worthwhile person, and that I can really do something and make a difference in the world. I'd like to show you a couple of my favorite tools. One of them is the retractable rake. You can extend the rake to get larger areas, or you can make it smaller so that you could get into a smaller space. It's really nice for raking behind, for instance, bushes and things that you can't reach with your normal arm length. It really is quite a handy little tool. It has many uses. For instance, you can rake across the top of a bush after you've pruned it and get any loose cuttings or clippings that are on the top there. The other thing that you can do is you can make it smaller if you need to get under the bush, if you've got leaves or whatever trapped underneath there. And you can go underneath here and get anything out and then dispose of it. There are intermediate stops that you can do so that you can accommodate any space if there's something that you would like to get out. It's really a very, very handy little tool. Finally, every gardener needs to be organized, and I have a bag that helps me to do that. It has pockets on the outside of it. You can put all different kinds of stuff in there. For instance, I have a shears in there and a garden glove, and there's some Velcro in here to help tie up things. And then it opens up, and in the bag you can put the other tools that you're going to use for the day. For instance, a cultivator or a little hand trowel, just so that you keep everything together. That really works wonders. And if you want to, so that you don't lose the things or they don't fall out, you can clip it there. The other thing I have, you can put things on the other side also, is just even, slide like a pruner in here. Or you could put a bottle of water in there, because every gardener should also have some water supply or some sort of liquid so that they don't get dehydrated. So at any rate, this really turns out to be a really practical idea also, and a very important tool. Gardening has made a difference in my life. It's given me a chance to be creative and feel that I'm still capable of doing something worthwhile, and allowed me to escape to a better place.